How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, the show where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, in episode number 146 of Uncut, we're going to be discussing the continued tension between the Bears front office and Allen Robinson. When it comes to getting a contract extension done, there have been reports that there is no momentum there and that Robinson is still believed to be able to hit free agency after the season is over. So let's get right into it, guys. Welcome back to the show. Before I introduce myself and my co-host, I would like to say you guys have been killing it with the support. We've been a little inconsistent, I would say, to say the least, all summer, but we've been getting a decent amount of content out, and we want to continue to trend upwards with how many videos we're putting out. We plan on putting at least a couple out this week. So if you want Bears content every day of the week, that is our goal. That's how we try to differentiate ourselves from others. We try and put up a ton of content and just get more out than anyone else does. So if you want to join us and continue to support us, do us a favor, drop a like and subscribe on YouTube. And also, if you're listening on a podcasting platform, do us a favor and follow. I am your host, Chris Malpe, today to talk about Allen Robinson, the continued tension that has been going on for quite some time now. I am joined with my co-host, Parth Shaw. Parth, how have you been recently? What's going on?
Been pretty good. Just been pretty busy with work and just been chilling. I'm going to California soon, so excited about that. But yeah, it's about to start downpouring here in the suburbs. So
yep. Yeah, I was supposed to go teach some tennis later, but it seems like that's definitely not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of rain this summer, man. Chicago, everywhere. I was in the city on Saturday night, and it was just spitting the whole night. And talking about raining and the emotions that rain give, just like a downward emotion, let's hop into Allen Robinson, because this has been giving everyone a sour taste in their mouth on both sides, Robinson, the Bears front office, the fans, for quite some time. So let's hop into this. This was a rumor a couple of days ago by ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. He said that the Allen Robinson contract talks look slow. The Bears obviously have to get the deal done by July 15th, which is this Thursday. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. And Fowler also said that the wide receiver looks to smash free agency in 2022, finally getting himself a big deal. But let's stay in the present right now. Let's talk about now before we move an entire offseason ahead. Parth, if the Bears perform well in 2021, do you think that they can continue to work with Robinson on an extension and, based on how Justin Fields plays, possibly get something done?
I think that's what Ryan Pace has to be banking on at this point. I mean, he has to bank on the fact that Allen Robinson and Justin Fields, work well together. They pair up well and put up some big numbers. If that happens, I feel like Allen Robinson would be willing to come back, maybe work a deal out. But right now, with the way things are looking, probably not. But let's hope that things could get better, especially with, bringing in a new quarterback. Allen Robinson's never played with a quarterback that good. Justin, he hasn't played with, let's say, he played with Mitch Trubisky here and then Blake Bortles in Jacksonville. So nothing that good. So Justin Fields hopefully can definitely be a lot better than those guys.
Yeah, and you hit exactly on the point that I was going to go to, that for the majority of his career, if not all of his career, Allen Robinson has played with underwhelming quarterbacks: Blake Bortles, Nick Foles, Mitchell Trubisky, Chase Daniel. But the one positive that I'll keep from this is that I do think the door is still open, because in Jeremy Fowler's segment, his appearance on SportsCenter, he did say that there's not been much momentum. The talks have been pretty slow, but Robinson has been listening. So, Parth, you mentioned that they have to pitch Justin Fields. I think if the Bears want to keep Robinson around at this point, what you have to do is keep him happy for now, get Fields out on that field, and hope that your 11th overall pick shows out, because I think that's the best chance that you've got to be able to lock down Robinson. And maybe if Justin Fields is the best quarterback that Robinson has ever played with in his career, which I do think he will end up being in 2021, maybe it gives Robinson some hope for the future, thinking that this guy's going to be around for a while, and maybe I should come back to Chicago, because I personally love everything Robinson does for Chicago with his charity work. He's also just a great guy in general, someone I've looked up to since the day he signed with the Bears in 2017. 2018, I think. 2017. 2018. Gosh. Ever since he started in Chicago, I've wanted Robinson to retire a Bear, so hopefully we can keep him around, and that's what you have to be pitching him at this point. But let's go back a little bit. I mean, obviously, Parth, these reports are saying that there hasn't been much momentum, that they've been pretty slow. We know last year that the contract discussions stopped around August or September, and the Bears could have gotten him for a Keenan Allen type deal. Now Robinson wants more because obviously a whole plethora of wide receivers signed new deals. So it seems like they messed it up there a little bit, but we knew that this was coming in some sense. So we saw it happening last offseason to the slow contract talks and not much happening. Does that surprise you at all?
No, not really. We know it happened last offseason, and we haven't had much talks since then. So, I'm not surprised that it's happening again. I wished it didn't. We all do. Most Bears fans love Allen Robinson. He's been a consistent wide receiver for a couple of years now, and he's the backbone of this offense. He puts up numbers. He's great in the red zone. So I'm shocked that the Bears haven't handled this better, though. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah, it's really been screwed up by the front office. I think we both wish we weren't even here making this video right now, talking about this, whether or not there's a chance that he stays or not, before the season has even gotten underway. This doesn't surprise me at all. I think Robinson's one of the most underrated receivers in the league. Once again, I talked about it earlier. He hasn't really played with a great quarterback since entering the league. So not only am I excited to see him with Justin Fields, but I think he also realizes that if he goes somewhere, goes to a championship caliber team, that he can put up big time numbers. So Justin Fields, man, it seems like a lot is going to be on his shoulders, just in terms of convincing Robinson that the future in Chicago is bright. So there's a lot riding on this season, but I'm not surprised that we're going through this whole limbo once again for the second straight year. Before we head out, I would like to talk about one last thing. Fowler did say that Robinson plans on smashing free agency in 2022 last offseason, and even during the season, we saw him liking tweets about going to other teams, going elsewhere, how much money he deserves. So I want your honest prediction, Parth. Seems like he's already got his eyes on 2022. Whether or not that's ambitious doesn't matter. Do you think this is Allen Robinson's last season in Chicago?
I think so. I really do think Allen Robinson leaves the Bears next year. I feel like the front office and him, the relationship has kind of escalated. It's not at a good place, and I don't think it will get at a good or better place. I don't think Justin Fields can convince Allen Robinson from one season of play to stay, especially when a lot of money's on the line. Players at the end of the day want to secure the bank, secure the future for their family, and I think that's what Allen Robinson does, and I'm going to be happy for him at the end of the day if he gets his bag. I hope he stays healthy this offseason to be able to do so.
Yeah, and that's why the franchise tag is so worrisome, just in case you do hurt, you lose out on some money. But Robinson's 27 years old. He's entering the cream of the crop of his career. He's coming off back-to-back campaigns with over 1,100 yards. He's entering his fourth season with the Bears. Now, Fowler did note that there's a decent chance Robinson will play out the 2021 season on the franchise tag. He has a goal of putting up big numbers again so he can smash free agency in 2022, whether or not that be with the Bears. So I'm happy that he'll most likely at least be on the field. You know what? Call me a homer, but we do have to have differentiating opinions on this channel. That's something that people like. So I'm going to say it's not Robinson's last season in Chicago. I really do believe that Justin Fields is going to crush it. I think it's only a matter of time before we see Justin Fields actually playing in Chicago. Obviously, Robinson's going to probably start the year with Andy Dalton as his quarterback, but I've said it all offseason, even before the Bears drafted Fields. If they got Fields, I really believe that was the right pick to be able to turn around this organization. So I do think that Justin Fields will play well. I do think that Justin Fields will show Allen Robinson that it's worth waiting out the future in Chicago, but it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because that's only one piece of the puzzle. You still have to get the money figured out, and Robinson's going to be vying for over $20 million a year. So it should be interesting to see what the Bears do moving forward, especially following an offseason where they definitely put an emphasis on offense. How much do they value their wide receiver one? That's going to be the question moving forward. Thank you guys so much for tuning into episode number 146 of Uncut. If you guys want Bears content every day of the week, we're going to be trying and posting as consistently as we can. We're obviously busy people, but we want to put out the most comprehensive Bears coverage on the web. So please do us a favor, drop a like and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, and do us a favor and drop us a follow on either of the podcasting platforms that we stream on. If you want more content from us, head to the top of the description. Head over to our website, bearddown.com. You can see off-season columns, articles, and blogs talking all things Bears, keeping you guys in the loop all off-season. If you would like to follow us on Instagram or Twitter, we're going to be giving away a Justin Fields jersey really soon. It's also a great way to see special guests we're having to plan on and just a great way to interact with us and see what's going on. You can find us on both of those platforms at Beared Down. And finally, you can find the links to all of our personal pages down in the description, our Instagram and Twitter pages. It's where you can see myself as well as Parth's thoughts on all things Chicago sports, the entirety of the National Football League, and obviously all things Bears. Parth, heading towards the end of July here, training camp coming up soon enough, 6 weeks or so here. We're going to be back at school. We're going to be back live streaming games once again. So any last words before we close this one off?
Yeah, no, the schedule is coming around. Training camp isn't soon. The home run derby's tonight, so I'm excited for that. But that's about it. I can't wait for football season. I feel like the Bears got a pretty good team to put out there this year. I think offensively, at least, I think we saw some pretty good shades of Matt Nagy's offense last year at the end of the season. You know, we were consistently putting up 30+ points. And I expect that Bears offense to come in this year with Allen Robinson and put up those throughout the season.
Yeah, and man, there's so much going on right now in sports. We just had UFC 264. The Euro Cup just finished up. We've got the Olympics just around the corner. Baseball's hitting its swing of things. NBA Finals. It just gets me more and more excited for football to return.
Exactly.
It's a great time of year just having all sports clicking, and it's just around the corner. So should be really interesting, and we're going to keep you guys covered on all things Bears, as we always do. It's going to be our second season, at least comprehensively covering the Bears, and we're very much so looking forward to it. So be sure to join the ride with us, guys. It's been a pleasure to be your host once again. My name is Chris Malpe, and Bears fans, as always, do us a favor and stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one.